Sweetie, don't worry, my mother-in-law cooed, steering my daughter toward the front doors. You won't have to live with your mom anymore. My 7-year-old, Lila, didn't cry. She just looked at me like she was trying to memorize my face in case it disappeared. The school secretary blocked the hallway, hands up. Miss Mercer, we need a parent or a court order. June didn't slow down. She flashed a single page of paper like it was a badge. Emergency guardianship, she announced. Signed this morning. For the child's safety. For the child's safety. The way she said it made people hesitate. I didn't. I stepped into her path. Take your hands off my kid. June smiled calm, offended. You're upsetting her. Lila's unicorn lunchbox swung from her wrist, trembling. June leaned down and whispered loud enough for me to hear, You'll thank me later. Then she tightened her grip on my daughter's hand and kept walking. I moved with them, shoulder to shoulder, heart slamming, trying to keep my voice from breaking. Lila, stay right by me. June glanced at the security guard near the office. Sir, could you help? Her mother is unstable. Unstable. She always used that word when she wanted a man to take her seriously. The guard stepped in, uncertain, because June looked put together, and I looked like I'd sprinted from my car with my hair still damp. Outside at the curb, June's SUV idled with the back door open. A booster seat sat on the passenger side ready, but not buckled down. It was just sitting there, loose, like she didn't care if it flew forward in a crash. That detail snapped something in me. That seat isn't even secured, I said, louder than I meant to. June, are you out of your mind? June's smile thinned. Don't be dramatic. We're family. She tried to guide Lila into the car anyway. I grabbed the lunchbox strap and pulled my daughter gently back toward me. Lila stumbled into my side, breath hitching. That's when the first police cruiser rolled up. No siren, no lights. Just 2 officers stepping out like they'd been here before, scanning the crowd of staring parents. June lifted her paper the second she saw them. Officers, thank God. My granddaughter's mother is refusing to comply with an emergency custody order. I forced myself to breathe through my teeth. That's my daughter. She has no order. She's trying to take her. One officer crouched to Lila's level. Hey, sweetheart. Who's your mom? Lila didn't hesitate. She pointed at me with a shaky finger. Her. And who's this? He asked. Grandma June. Lila whispered, then added, almost too quiet. She said I'm not safe with Mommy. June sighed like my child had embarrassed her. I'm trying to prevent trauma, she said. The officer stood and took the paper from June. He read it once, then again, then flipped it over, his eyebrows pinched. He stepped away, spoke into his radio low enough I couldn't hear. June turned toward me, voice dropping into that private, poisonous softness she saved for me. You're making a scene at her school. Do you know what that does to a child? You're the one kidnapping her at her school, I hissed back. June's eyes sparked. Don't use ugly words. The officer returned, and his whole posture was different, alert, careful, no patience left. Miss June Mercer? He asked. June lifted her chin. Yes, this isn't a signed order, he said. It's a photocopy of a petition. No judge, no stamp. The case number doesn't exist. For half a second, June's face went blank, like a mask slipping. Then it snapped back into outrage. That's impossible. I filed this morning. Ma'am, the officer said. I need your ID. June laughed like he'd insulted her. Are you kidding? No. She handed it over with slow drama, as if everyone should be ashamed. While he ran her information, the second officer moved closer to me and Lila, creating space. Do you have somewhere safe to go today? He murmured. I opened my mouth to say yes, and realized I didn't know. June had keys to our house. June had my husband on speed dial. June had the kind of neighborhood friends who believed her first. Behind us, June kept talking, voice pitched for an audience. I'm her grandmother. I'm the responsible one. I'm doing this for the family. The radio crackled. The officer's jaw tightened. He looked at June. Step away from the vehicle. June blinked. Excuse me? Step away, he repeated. Now. June's lips pressed together. She took one step back, then another, still acting like she was being persecuted. As she moved, I saw a suitcase on the backseat floor, half zipped, a stack of paperwork beside it. Like she planned to leave with my child, not visit. My throat closed. The officer held out his hand. Keys, ma'am. June's nostrils flared. No. He took a step closer. June's fingers twitched around her key fob. A chirp. The SUV doors locked. My blood turned cold. If Lila had been inside, June could have driven away while I stood here empty. The officer's voice dropped. Give me the keys. June's eyes flicked toward the road like she was calculating a run, and that's when my phone started vibrating in my pocket. Owen. My husband. I answered with numb fingers. Where are you? His voice came through way too calm. Hey. Mom said you're getting worked up at school. She tried to take Lila with fake papers, I said. A beat of silence too long. Then he exhaled like I was inconveniencing him. Okay. Just don't escalate. Hand Lila to Mom for the day, and we'll talk tonight. I couldn't breathe. You want me to hand her over, I whispered. It's temporary, he said. For the family. I stared at my daughter's face buried in my coat, and something inside me went perfectly still. Because the real emergency wasn't June anymore. It was my husband asking me to give my child away. They didn't cuff June in the school parking lot. They did something she hated more. They made her sit on the curb while parents stared, and phones came out. One officer took the paper, photographed it, then looked at me. Ma'am, there's no judge signature. This appears to be a petition, not an order. June's voice went sharp. That is an order. I filed this morning. The officer didn't argue with her story. He just asked for her ID and ran it while his partner stood between June and my daughter like a wall. Do you want to press charges for presenting false documents and attempted custodial interference? He asked me. My first instinct was, yes. My second instinct was Owen walking through our front door tonight, seeing his mother's name on a police report and deciding I was the problem. I want my daughter safe, I said. The officer nodded like he understood that fear sometimes has to be strategic. He handed me a card. If she shows up again, call. And ma'am, don't leave your child alone with her. June overheard and snapped. I babysit all the time. I'm her grandmother. The officer didn't even look at her. He looked at Lila, small, shaking, clutching her unicorn lunchbox. Sweetheart, are you okay? Lila nodded, then whispered, I want my mom. That ended the debate. Before we left, the officer pulled me aside. She's claiming you're neglectful. Expect a report. People who forge documents don't stop at one play. A report? My mouth went dry. From who? He didn't answer directly. He didn't have to. When they finally let us go, I didn't go home. I went straight to my friend Tessa's apartment across town, the one with a deadbolt that actually latches, and a landlord who never returns calls. Tessa took one look at Lila's face and just pulled us inside. Blankets, water, then talk. I sat Lila on the couch and did what I always do when I'm scared. I checked. Arms, legs, wrists. No bruises, no marks. But when I peeled back her sleeve, a tiny Band-Aid sat on her elbow. New, beige, perfectly placed. I fell at Grandma's, she said quickly. When? I asked. Lila's eyes flicked away. Yesterday. I leaned closer and caught a smell I didn't expect, sweet, like cough syrup. My stomach tightened. What did she put on it? Lila shrugged. Too fast. She said it was medicine. She said you forget medicine. There it was. A detail that didn't belong. Tessa watched my face change and whispered, Document everything. I took photos. Not because I wanted drama. because I could already feel June building a story where I was the villain and she was the rescuer. Lila tugged her lunchbox into her lap like it was private property. "She put something in here too," she said. She unzipped the front pocket and pulled out a folded napkin. In June's neat handwriting, 4 words stared up at me. "Don't worry. I'm coming." It wasn't for Lila. It was for me. My phone buzzed again. "Owen." Then a text. "Bring Lila home. You're scaring her." I called him back before my courage could leak away. "Did you know she was going to do that?" He went straight to the script. "Mom's worried. She loves Lila. She brought fake papers and a suitcase," I said. "That's not worry. That's a plan. She didn't mean it like that," he snapped. "Okay," I said, voice steady now. "Then answer this. When did you talk to her about taking Lila?" Silence just long enough to tell the truth without saying it. "Owen," I said. He exhaled like I was being unreasonable. "We talked about options. If things didn't improve." "If things didn't improve," I repeated. "According to who?" "Your mom?" "She said you've been sleeping all day," he said quickly. "She said Lila's been late. I've been working nights because you said your business needed time." I cut in. "I'm tired, not unfit." His tone softened, fake, gentle. "Just come home. Let's handle this as a family. Don't involve strangers." As my tanded as, "The police aren't strangers," I said. "They're the only reason our kid didn't end up in your mom's car." He got flat. "If you don't bring her home, I'm calling a lawyer." My throat tightened. "You're threatening me." "I'm protecting my daughter," he said, and I felt something inside me snap clean in half. After we hung up, Tessa said softly, "Check your accounts." I opened my banking app with shaking fingers. The balance blinked at me like a joke. Our joint savings gone. Not missing, not low, gone. A transfer line sat there with today's date and Owen's name. My hands went numb. He wasn't just siding with his mom. He was financing her. Lila's eyelids started drooping on the couch. Too fast for a kid who'd just lived through sirens and shouting. She fought it like she didn't want to miss anything, then lost. "That's weird," Tessa murmured. "She usually crash like that?" "No," I said, watching my daughter's head tilt heavy against the pillow. "Not like this." I checked her pupils with my phone flashlight old habit. Normal. But her breath had that faint candy medicine smell. I opened the lunchbox again, slower this time, and felt my fingertips hit something hard under the lining. There was a tiny orange travel bottle shoved into a seam. No label, just a handwritten vitamins in June's looping script. Inside were chewable gummies, pink, shaped like hearts. Lila's voice drifted from half-sleep, like she couldn't stop herself. "Grandma said those are for when you get too emotional. She said I should take 2 before Daddy talks to you." My chest went hollow. June wasn't just telling stories about me. She was medicating my child to fit the story. Around midnight, a car door slammed outside. I peeked through the blinds. Owen's truck sat across the street, and in the passenger seat lit by the glow of a phone was June. Watching Tessa's building like she already knew where we ran. That's when I understood. The school stunt wasn't her worst move. It was her first move, and she'd been preparing for months. If you're still here, hit like and subscribe, because in the next part, I'm going to tell you what I found in Owen's email, and why my own husband had been feeding June information like I was the enemy. At 6:12 a.m., there was a knock on Tessa's door. Not a neighbor knock, an official knock, the kind that comes with paperwork. I opened it with the chain still on. A woman stood in the hallway holding a clipboard. Calm face, tired eyes. Next to her, a uniformed officer. "Miss Harper?" she asked. My stomach flipped. "Yes, I'm Dana Cole with Child Protective Services. We received a report last night. May we come in?" Behind me, Lila shifted on the couch, sleepy and confused, clutching her stuffed cat. The orange bottle sat in my purse like a live wire. "What's the allegation?" I asked. Dana's eyes stayed steady. failure to supervise, emotional instability, possible misuse of medication. My mouth went dry. June hadn't just called, she'd chosen words that make systems move. I unlatched the chain and stepped aside. Dana didn't waste time. She scanned the room, then crouched by Lila. "Hi, sweetheart. Can you tell me how you're feeling?" "I'm tired," Lila whispered. "Long day yesterday?" Lila nodded, then said, simple and clear, "Grandma tried to take me." Mommy stopped her. Dana's pen paused. "Grandma tried to take you?" "She said Mommy doesn't get to be my mom," Lila murmured. "She had paper." Dana looked up at me. I handed her the incident number from yesterday and the photos on my phone, June's napkin note, the Band-Aid, the handwriting. Then I pulled out the tiny orange bottle. Dana didn't touch it with her bare hands. She used a tissue like it was evidence. "Where did you find this?" "In Lila's lunchbox," I said. "She says June told her to take 2 when she gets too emotional." Lila's eyes lowered. "She said it helps before Daddy talks to you," she whispered. The officer's eyebrows lifted. Dana's calm cracked just enough to show anger underneath. Dana lowered her voice. "Do you feel safe returning home today?" "No," I said instantly. "Okay," she said, already writing. "We'll put a safety plan in place. Temporary. It means you keep Lila away from the reporting party while we investigate. June." Dana didn't say her name, but it hung in the air. The moment they left, I did what I'd been avoiding. I opened Owen's laptop. His password was our anniversary. Sentimental, careless. His email was already open to a thread labeled Family Meeting. Participants: Owen, June, and a lawyer. Subject: Interim Guardianship Strategy. I stared until my eyes burned. June had been sending observations for months. Dates, times, tiny moments written like crimes. "Mom forgot snack." Mom raised her voice. "Child appears anxious." And Owen replied, not defending me, confirming, adding. Then I saw the attachment that made my skin go cold. A financial statement. Debt I didn't know existed. Loans. Past due notices. And the lawyer's response underneath? "With Miss Mercer as temporary guardian, the child's residence can be established at her address while we restructure." My throat tightened. They weren't just trying to save Lila. They were trying to hide Owen's mess behind my child's custody. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Miss Harper?" a man asked. "Detective Raymond Pike, County Fraud Unit. I'm following up on a complaint involving falsified court documents." "Yes," I said. "That was my mother-in-law." There was a pause. "Has Miss June Mercer ever worked with children professionally?" She ran a home daycare years ago," I said, confused. "Why?" "Because her name just hit our system," he said carefully. "Linked to a closed investigation from 5 years ago involving an unprescribed sedative given to a child." My grip tightened around the phone. My eyes flicked to the orange bottle on the table. Heart-shaped gummies. Detective Pike continued, voice steady. "We're reopening that file. Based on what you reported, we may need to locate Miss Mercer quickly. Locate her, like she could run." I looked out the window. Owen's truck was gone. June's SUV was gone. And when I checked the bank app again, there was another transfer today's date. Owen's name. He wasn't calming things down. He was moving money. And if June had done this before, if she'd medicated another child to control them, then the school stunt wasn't just about my daughter. It was about a pattern. And I had just become the next file on someone's desk. Tessa grabbed her keys. "You're not doing this alone." We drove to the precinct. Detective Pike met us in an interview room and slid June's order across the table. "Wrong county seal," he said. "Altered." He asked about the gummies. I handed him the orange bottle. He bagged it like evidence because it was... Then he asked, "Do you have your daughter's documents?" "Birth certificate, social security card, passport." I froze. Those were in a lockbox June had insisted we keep at her place last year for emergencies. Detective Pike watched my face. People who plan custody grabs also plan identity grabs, he said. On the drive back, my phone pinged Owen had added an event to the shared calendar. Meet Mom Storage Unit 11:30 a.m. Tessa read it over my shoulder. They're moving something. We pulled into the self-storage facility and parked 2 rows back. Owen's truck was there. June's SUV was there. A metal door rolled up. Owen loaded a plastic bin into his truck bed, while June stood close, directing like she owned him. Then she opened a thick manila folder. Inside, a corner of white paper flashed official-looking, crisp. June turned her head and scanned the lot, and I knew the truth before she even moved. If she saw me, she wouldn't argue. She would run, and Owen would help her. My phone buzzed again, another transfer notification. Smaller this time, but fast, like he was draining what he could in pieces. Lila stirred in the back seat. "Are we going home?" she asked, voice tiny. "No, baby," I whispered. "We're going somewhere safe." 80? June laughed at something Owen said. Even through the windshield, I saw her mouth form the word I'd heard my whole marriage. Respect. She reached into the folder and pulled out the top page. I didn't need binoculars to recognize the bold header. Passport application. My daughter's name. My daughter's date of birth. A blank space for a parent's signature waiting. Tessa's hand tightened on mine. "Call him," she breathed. "Or, call the cops." I stared at Owen's back, at June's hand holding my child's future like property, and I realized I only had seconds to choose what kind of mother I was going to be next. I called 911 with my thumb shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. "My mother-in-law has falsified court papers," I whispered. She has my child's legal documents and a passport application." The dispatcher asked for the address. I gave it. She told me to stay in my vehicle, to stay calm. In the lot, June snapped the folder closed and said something to Owen. He nodded and started shutting the storage door. Then June's eyes landed on my car. June's smile appeared for half a second, sweet and cruel. Then she moved. "Go," she hissed at Owen. Owen climbed into his truck fast. June walked toward her SUV with the folder tight to her chest. Not running, June never ran. She just acted like the world should clear a path, Tessa whispered. "She's leaving." I opened my door anyway. My body did the same thing it did at the school curb. It put itself between June and the exit. June stopped 3 feet from me. "Oh," she said softly. "You followed us." "He's down. You have my child's documents," I said, voice trembling. "Give them back." June's eyes flicked to the phone in my hand. "Calling the police again?" she asked, almost amused. "You're really committed to humiliating your family." "My family is in the back seat of my friend's car," I snapped. "Because you and your son are not safe." June's smile didn't change. "I'm the safest person she has," she said. "I'm the only adult who thinks ahead." "Is that what you call drugging her?" I said, and watched her eyes flash quick, angry. "What are you talking about?" she demanded. "The gummies," I said. "The bottle in her lunchbox." For the first time, June's composure wobbled, not because she felt guilty, because she realized I had evidence. She recovered fast. "Those are vitamins," she said. "She gets anxious." I was helping, always helping. Behind her, Owen avoided my eyes. He stared at the asphalt like he could disappear into it. "Owen," I said, my voice breaking on his name. "Tell her to stop. Tell her to give them back." He swallowed. "Can we talk somewhere private?" he muttered. June cut in, sharp. "No. She's making a scene." Again, a siren wailed in the distance, getting closer. June's nostrils flared. "You did call," she said, and the sweetness fell off her voice. "Fine. You want strangers? Let's do strangers." She stepped closer and lowered her voice so only I could hear. Do you want Lila to hear about your episodes? She whispered. The therapy? The panic attacks you hid from Owen? I have screenshots. I have notes. I have witnesses. My blood went cold. She'd been collecting my weakest moments like trophies. Because if you keep pushing, June continued, I will make sure the court believes you are not stable enough to parent. And then I will give Lila the home she deserves. I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth hurt. You're not protecting her, I whispered. You're owning her. June's eyes narrowed. In this world, she said, the person who documents wins. Police cruisers rolled into the lot. 2, then a third. Detective Pike stepped out of one, eyes scanning. He spotted June immediately because June stands like she expects the world to salute. He walked toward us, calm but fast. Miss Mercer, he said, we need to speak with you. June's voice turned syrupy again. Detective, thank God. This woman has been harassing me. I'm only trying to— Ma'am, he cut in. Do you have any documents belonging to a minor child that are not yours? June's smile froze. I'm her grandmother. That's not an answer, Pike said. An officer approached Owen. Sir, step away from the vehicle. Owen's face drained. I didn't do anything, he said too quickly. Pike looked at me. You said there may be falsified court documents, he said. Where? June lifted the folder, chin high. These are my legal filings, she said. Pike held out his hand. Let me see. June hesitated just long enough for the truth to show. Then, she slapped the folder into his hand like she was offended by the request. Pike flipped through. His jaw tightened on the passport application, on the photocopied order, on a stack of printed emails my name highlighted. Miss Mercer, he said, voice low. You understand that presenting falsified court documents is a crime. I have. June's eyes widened in practiced disbelief. This is outrageous. Pike didn't debate. He nodded to an officer. Secure her vehicle. Secure the storage unit. June's voice sharpened. You can't. That's my property. It's also potentially evidence, Pike said. They opened June's SUV. In the back was a plastic tote labeled winter clothes, except it wasn't clothes. It was files. Photos, notes, a printed map with circles drawn around places I go. In Owen's truck bed, they found the bin he'd loaded camera gear, tiny microphones, and a hard drive labeled home. Tessa let out a low sound, like a growl. She was listening to you. I couldn't speak. I could only stare at Owen, waiting for him to say something that wasn't cowardice. He finally looked up, eyes wet, and whispered, I didn't know she had all of that. Yes, you did, I said, quiet. You just didn't ask. Pike's officer cuffed June. Not gently, not cruelly. Just like procedure. June's face twisted into pure fury. This is for family, she snapped. You're tearing family apart. Pike didn't flinch. You did that, he said. June turned her head toward me, eyes burning. You think you won, she hissed. You have no idea what Owen signed. My stomach dropped. What did he sign? I demanded. June smiled through the cuffs. An affidavit, she said softly, saying you're unstable, saying you're unfit, saying he's afraid for Lila. I looked at Owen. He didn't deny it. He just whispered, Mom said it was temporary. Temporary. The same word that almost got my daughter stolen at school. Detective Pike walked past me toward his cruiser, folder under his arm. Miss Harper, he said. There's going to be an emergency hearing. Your husband's statement will matter. My throat tightened. When? 48 hours, he said. I turned back to Owen, rage and grief colliding in my chest. And he finally met my eyes and said the sentence that told me just how deep the betrayal went. I already told the lawyer you'd agree. Once you calm down. 48 hours sounds like a lot until you're the one counting minutes with your child asleep beside you. We spent that time in motion. a motel under Tessa's name, a safety plan from CPS in plain bullet points, and my phone on silent because I couldn't listen to Owen try to talk. The morning of the hearing, he texted me anyway. Please don't do this in court. Let's keep it respectful. Respectful. That word again. Family court was packed with people holding folders like shields. Owen showed up with his attorney, looking tired, not evil. June showed up in a conservative coat, hair perfect, chin high as if the holding cell was just an inconvenience. When she saw Lila, her face softened into a grandmother mask. "Hi, sweetheart," she called, sweet and loud. Lila's hand tightened around mine until my fingers hurt. The judge sharp-eyed. No patience called our case. "Temporary emergency petition filed by June Mercer," she said. "Counter motion for protection filed by the mother." June's lawyer spoke first. Concern, stability, a mother, emotionally unstable, a father, seeking support. He lifted Owen's affidavit like it was proof of virtue. Then I spoke, not a speech. Facts, the school pickup, the fake order, the suitcase in June's car, the booster seat not buckled down, the CPS report, the orange bottle of heart-shaped gummies labeled vitamins, the napkin note. "Don't worry, I'm coming." I handed over photos, the police incident number, and printed emails from Owen's laptop, June documenting my life like a case file, Owen replying like her assistant. When the judge asked Owen if he believed I was unfit, he hesitated. His lawyer nudged him. "I think she's been overwhelmed," Owen said. "My mom offered help." The judge's eyes narrowed. "Help is not taking a child from school," she said. June's lawyer tried again. "There was no harm to the child, Your Honor." Detective Pike stood. "Your Honor, may I briefly address the court?" The judge nodded. Pike laid it out. Falsified documents, a passport application for Lila, surveillance equipment recovered from the storage unit, and digital recordings labeled with our address. June snapped. "That's a lie." But her voice sounded thin even to her. The judge looked straight at June. "Did you install recording devices in their home?" June's lawyer started to object. The judge stopped him with a raised hand. "I asked your client." June lifted her chin. "I was gathering proof," she said. "For the child's sake." The judge's expression hardened. "This court does not reward illegal behavior." Then she turned to Owen. "Mr. Harper, did you transfer marital funds to your mother?" Owen's face went pale. He swallowed. "I moved money to cover debts," he admitted. "My mom said she could help if we stabilized custody." Aitman told it. So there it was, out loud. My child used as collateral. The judge didn't take long. Emergency petition denied. Temporary protective order granted. No contact for June Mercer pending the criminal investigation. Any future visitation, if allowed, to be supervised and ordered later. Then she looked at Owen. "You will have parenting time only in a neutral setting until you complete a parenting course and provide full financial disclosure," she said. "You do not get to outsource your child's safety to your mother." June's face twisted. "This is because she's dramatic," she snapped. The judge didn't blink. "Miss Mercer, you are not a savior. You are a risk." Outside the courtroom, Owen tried to touch my arm. I stepped back. "I didn't think it would go like this," he whispered. "That's the problem," I said. "You never think past what makes your life easier." Detective Pike caught me near the exit. "We executed a warrant," he said quietly. "That daycare file tied to sedatives? It's reopened. Because of the pattern." I walked out holding Lila's hand, and for the first time in days, the air felt like air instead of a threat. We didn't go back to the house. With Tessa and a legal aid advocate CPS connected me with, I got a small apartment in my name only. New locks, new routine. Lila taped drawings to her wall like she was staking a claim. Owen filed for separation. then tried to apologize in 100 small ways that all sounded like, I didn't mean to. I didn't move back. Because the day you realize your husband can be talked into giving your daughter away, you don't unknow it. 2 months later, June's lawyer left a voicemail on my new number. Miss Mercer would like to resolve this amicably, he said. Amicably. Like she hadn't tried to rewrite my child's life with a forged stamp. I deleted it. Lila started counseling the next week. The therapist didn't label her. She just gave her words for what happened. Fear, confusion, betrayal. Lila drew pictures of our old house with a giant eye on the roof. When I asked why, she said, because Grandma was always watching. Owen got his first supervised visit at a family center with bright murals and security cameras. He showed up with a stuffed unicorn and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Lila hugged him, then immediately looked at me like she needed confirmation that hugging him wouldn't get her taken again. That look hurt more than any affidavit. After the visit, Owen waited in the parking lot. I can fix this, he said, voice cracking. I'll cut her off. I'll do whatever. I believed he meant it in that moment. I also believed he only meant it because the court finally put consequences on paper. A week later, a letter arrived addressed to Lila in looping handwriting I recognized instantly. No return address. But I knew. June. Inside was a single sentence, underlined twice. Remember, sweetheart, respect is love. I tore it in half before Lila could see it, and my hands shook the way they had at the school curb, because even from a distance, June still wanted to shape my daughter's brain, and I wasn't letting her have one more inch. And here's where I want to hear from you, because families fight about this part the most. If your spouse chooses their parent over your child's safety, is that a mistake you work through, or a line you never come back from? Drop your answer in the comments, and share this with someone who needs the reminder that for the family is not a free pass to hurt a child.